that spring cleaning pretty crucial. There was so many land going through. He would have had to get through those in regular fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. If he hadn't had that spring cleaning, if the spring cleaning had won the clash, that would have been rough for him.
Carvalho's getting excited now. A little bit more animated.
Yep. Starting to feel a game slip away from him that he thought he had firmly in control there for a little while.
Well,
sees 2 land with the gilt leaf seer himself. Looks like he missed the weed printer upkeep. Could have killed that 1/1 elf, I believe.
Guardians of Cloverdale, I do believe, has come down for 7 mana. It's a 4/5. Oh, and yes, there we are. You called it, Bill.
And it is a required action. Yep.
Yeah, so
the
judge goes in.
Yeah, we should let him.
And he was like, yes, of course, it's fine. Yeah. They're going to just come in and fix this.
No, I remembered, but I forgot to give -1/1 to Greg.
Interesting to see what the ruling's going to be here.
What?
How many time has passed?
Yeah, that's Hector Fuentes, one of the Mexican judges, pretty big in the DCI. There's Toby Elliott in the background, in the shirt, the pink shirt there. He's the head judge for the tournament. It's actually been a very smooth tournament, very smooth. It's particularly difficult, 350-odd players.
Just to give you a warning for a game rule violation, the game trail changing was actually 5/5 at the time it came into play because of the perfect, and you only looked at 4 cards. So just please bear that in mind. Thank you.
Wow, that's another rough beat for Nikolai Herzog. Had the 5/5 game trail changeling, and that could be huge because he saw 4 lands. If he'd have seen that extra card, he might have been able to dig a little bit deeper. Looks like we got a 2/2 woodland changeling from Nico, who's staring down a really uncompromising board position with that Guardian of Cloverdale, putting 3 1/1 Kith King creatures into play. It is definitely looking bad for the Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, it isn't just one mistake now, it's several, and also, you know, they don't just accumulate in gameplay terms, they prey on you, and it is like incremental growth. It's like 1, 3, 6, 10. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4 in the way you feel about
it. Yep, it starts to wear you down, Rich, and eventually you start questioning whether you have the right to win the matchup, whether you should win a game in which you just played poorly and in such a skill relevant format. You really start to second guess yourself.
You've also got to remember that they sent down a draft now the best part of 3 and a bit hours ago, and although they haven't been playing that entire time, obviously they had a little breather while we went to see the Chinese guy in action. The fact remains that they've been sitting under the lights, cooking under the pressure, not yet through to the semi-final, hoping their deck's going to hold up, and that all builds and builds and builds.
Yep, it absolutely does. It's just like any other high-stress situation. You just never know when that could lead someone to buckle.
Mind you, a buckling Nico Herzog is a lot better than a lot of people who aren't under pressure.
Exactly. And as we've harped on, even if Nico's making mistakes, even if we're seeing mistakes in this top 8, these are still world-class players, a Hall of Fame player, excellent player, a little bit rusty after coming back and getting into the top 8, but still very solid. Never want to see him at your draft pod.
Nope. And you look to, I wonder what the math is in terms of 15 rounds of Swiss.
Yeah.
You play a minimum of 30 duels right there, plus, let's say half of the match is 37, 38, 39. So we're maybe like around about 42, 43 for the matches for each of these. Each of these plays 43 games.
A ton of magic, and that's if they're not doing side drafts with their friends after they get done during the day. And some of these guys are.
Absolutely, they really are. And I would imagine that already some of the players out from the top 8 are busy going in search of draft packs.
Yep.
So
we saw H-Ron out in the audience watching for a little while. It's not out of the question for some of these pros to try to pick up on tells that their opponents in the top 8 could potentially give away on camera. We saw Ming Shi shuffling cards nervously, but mostly just trying to educate themselves. Just because Nikolai Herzog, John Finkel, Mike Hron has one perspective on a format doesn't mean they're not willing to look at what their peers are also thinking about a format and see what they can gain from that.
Absolutely. I was chatting with Zvi before the tournament started, and he was having all sorts of apparently casual conversations with people, and all the time, you're logging away the information. What do they think? How much have they drafted? What little tidbits can you pick up? Even if it's just about a simple card interaction that you just haven't yet experienced, because, a big set and a small set, you've got 450 odd cards there, and they all do different things. That's why Magic's so great.
Yep. That's why it can be tough on coverage, trying to remember everything, all the names, all the details, all the specific elements that you're looking at seeing. But yeah, that much information is tough for anyone to try to compute, especially with a set like Morningtide just having come out so recently.
For sure. That's our excuse. We're sticking to it. All right, so
Nico looks a little shaken up, I got to be honest. He's trying to figure out that block, but it looks very difficult for him to come up with a block here that somehow pulls him out of this situation.
Yeah, he's on 10 right now, 12 to 10. Marcio's still got plenty back behind him. He's got the Thorntooth Witch. He's got the Gilt-Leaf Seer, which is helping Chunter through his deck. The little Kithkin, they're not doing a huge amount, but they're still bodies that Nico doesn't have answers for.
Yep.
So Nico does the blocking dance on the table.
Trying to figure out a way to get some creatures traded.
If he does that, he's gonna take something like 8 as things stand. 4 from the Guardians, 1 from the Skeletal Changeling, 3 Kithkin. Is that alright? So he's taking 8 right now, and he's on 10 as we speak. Is that right?
It does put him, it does put him in a position where he can pump his Ghostly Changeling, so he can get 2 of the potential attackers off the board, provided his opponent doesn't have any type of effect.
Like a fistful or something.
Exactly, and then hopefully, he's got to be hoping to try to hit a miracle. His final Rebels would help deal with 5 of the threats on his opponent's board. Now that he's got an extra creature, he's going to Thorntooth Witch, and it doesn't look good.
And now Herzog's smiling, but he isn't smiling because he's winning, and there is the hand.
Yep, that's the hand.
Quarterfinals are done. Herzog head in hands, Carl